The Department of Justice strongly denies admitting high-profile inmate JB Sebastian into the Witness Protection Program. This after Sebastian's lawyer, attorney Eduardo Arriba, reportedly stated that his client is now under government protection. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre previously said they don't believe the entire testimony of Sebastian, even though they agree with this allegation that former Justice Secretary Laila de Lima was his protector in selling illegal drugs inside the New Bilibid prison. Last Tuesday, de Lima and Sebastian were among the 8 respondents charged with drug trafficking in relation to the Bilibid drugs trade.
No witnesses by the Commission on Human Rights or CHR were presented on the last hearing of the Senate today on the alleged cases of extrajudicial killings. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Senator Laila de Lima and Senator Richard Gordon were caught again on a heated debate during the resumption of the Senate inquiry on the alleged cases of extrajudicial killings. This after Senator Laila de Lima manifested a motion during the committee hearing for Commission on Human Rights Chair Chito Gascon to be allowed to explain the stand of CHR following the tirades by Senator Richard Gordon. Senator Gordon is furious over CHR Commissioner Roberto Cadiz after the latter called him coward when he suspended the hearing on the alleged cases of summary executions. Senator de Lima also moved to defer the discussion of the committee on the proposed bill on the imposition of death penalty.
You cannot control this the way you controlled it last time. I don't want to fight with you. I respect you. But let me just point out, I am not going to veer.
There is a particular matter at hand, so...
Excuse me, what are you trying to tell me?
I move that we defer the taking up of the death penalty bill.
Is there a second? There appears to be no second motion, so the motion is overruled.
Gordon clarifies that he is not demanding apology from the CHR, but insists that the Commission should dissociate itself from unauthorized remarks from Cadiz. Though he was not invited, CHR Chair Chito Gascon was present today.
Yung pahayag po ni Commissioner Cadiz last week ay hindi po pahayag ng kabuuan ng komisyon. Opinion po niya yon.
Senator Gordon, however, maintains that no witnesses from CHR will be presented. The hearing proceeded to the discussion on the police operations being investigated by the PNP Internal Affairs Service. At the end of the hearing, CHR Chair Gascon was given a chance to speak, and he then expressed his support to the investigation being conducted by the Senate. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
After 6 Senate hearings on alleged cases of extrajudicial killings, Committee Chair Senator Richard Gordon says they have not found any proof that rampant killings are state-sponsored. Joyce Balancho is back to tell us why.
The joint hearing of the Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights and the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs on the alleged cases of extrajudicial killings has been concluded today. Justice Committee Chair Senator Richard Gordon says they are now preparing the committee report, which is likely to be finished and be publicly available on Monday. He says after the 6 sessions of the Senate, they have concluded that the reported killings under the Duterte administration are not state-sponsored. He maintains these are not a result of the president orders to eliminate drugs in the country, and that blame should not be put to President Rodrigo Duterte but on the prevalence of drugs in the country.
The president is inspired to kill drugs because he really means to eradicate drugs. But I don't think he's really going to push anybody to say kill. Kapabayaan. Lahat. Before, the moment the first drug hit this country and we didn't do anything about it, lalaganap at lalaganap yan.
In the committee report, Senator Gordon will include the testimonies of witnesses presented in the previous hearing. However, Edgar Matobato's statements will no longer be part of it. He says Matobato lost his credibility due to his inconsistent statements and attempts to implicate then Davao Mayor Rodrigo Duterte while concealing some pertinent information about him.
Nakita nyo, hinuli siya doon sa illegal possession of firearms. Meron pala sa kaso lumabas dito, hindi ko alam yun. At tinurn over na siya doon sa PNP. May perjury doon. Pinagsama-sama mo yan, there is connectivity na tila there really is an effort to try and pin down Mayor Duterte on this battle.
Meanwhile, the committee report will also include possible recommendations on laws that can be passed. Gordon says there should be a law that will expedite the investigation on police operations that result in deaths of persons being investigated. The PNP Internal Affairs Service, or IAS, reveals that from January to October this year, they have investigated only more than 1,000 cases of such police operations. 300 from these were considered dropped and closed cases due to insufficiency of evidence, while only 28 cases were recommended to proceed to summary hearings. Once they have proven the administrative liability of policemen, they will recommend their possible suspension, demotion, or termination. Nonetheless, they have not yet filed cases against any erring officer as of this moment. While the PNP-IAS wants to look into all cases being forwarded to them, they say they lack resources and personnel to do the job.
We are only about 600 ES personnel, and out of the 600, there are only 200 investigators nationwide.
Aside from expediting the investigation of cases, Gordon says they will recommend providing bigger budget to the PNP so they can also use gadgets such as body cameras during police operations. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
A political analyst believes that the decision of President Rodrigo Duterte to cut the alliance with the United States of America is the right thing and good for the country. Retired Brigadier General Victor Corpus says that the Philippines will be safe from war if the conflict of America with other countries like China will start. He adds that the country might also be the target of America's enemies, especially if the Philippines is one of its known allies.
There is the danger that we will be involved in either a conventional war or a nuclear war. Philippine adoption of an independent foreign policy is very important. That can affect our survival as a nation.
President Rodrigo Duterte orders the creation of a presidential task force that will focus on the resolution of abuses against the members of the media in the country. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
Threats against members of the media via online can now be fought through the Presidential Task Force on Violence Against Media Workers. This after Malacanang formulates the implementing rules and regulations of Administrative Order No. 1 signed by President Rodrigo Duterte on October 11, 2016.
Binuo ng ating Pangulo itong Presidential Task Force on Violations of the Right to Life, Liberty, and Security of the Members of the Media. So nandyan po yung security of the members of the media.
Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre II will take the chairmanship of the task force. He is joined by Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar, DILG Secretary Ismael Sueno, Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana, Solicitor General Jose Calida, AFP Chief of Staff General Ricardo Visaya, PNP Chief Ronald De La Rosa, NBI Director Dante Heran, and Presidential Human Rights Committee. The Commission on Human Rights as well as the Ombudsman and various media organizations will serve as observers and resource persons.
Tutulungan natin yung pagbigay ng hustisya doon sa mga unresolved cases, yung mga hindi pa na papailan ng kaso. At bibilisan din natin ang proseso para mas lalong matulungan sa lalong mas madaling panahon yung mga kapatid natin sa industriya.
It can be recalled that in 2015, a report of the International Federation of Journalists says that the Philippines is the deadliest country in Southeast Asia for journalists. The increasing number of media killings had prompted the president to create the said task force. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The segregation of detainees with illegal drug cases has sparked a protest in Manila City Jail. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
At least 35 detainees and 4 jail personnel were injured in a protest initiated by a gang in Manila City Jail. Several members of Batang City Jail started a noise barrage this morning. A commotion ensued when jail guards moved in to control the situation. Some inmates fell from the roof and the stones were hurled on the jail guards.
we have to employ the necessary amount of force naman para i-control yung situation.
Jail officials claim Batang City Jail protested the segregation of their gang mates who are facing drug-related cases.
Ang hindi lang po sumunod dito ay yung Batang City Jail. Dahil po ang plano kasi dito at kasulukuyang ginagawa, ongoing po, ang transfer ng mga drug-related cases. Siniseparate po natin yung mga drug-related cases sa ibang dorm at yung non-drug po ay sa ibang dorm din. Ngayon, inumpisahan na rin po natin ang pagbuwag sa mga pangkat.
Kung yun po ang magiging dahilan para sa pagbabago, sangayon po kami Rosa.
Despite the incident, segregation of detainees will proceed as directed by BJMP leadership. With this, jail officials say monitoring inmates involved in illegal drugs will be easier. Of the almost 4,000 detainees in Manila City Jail, more than 2,000 have pending drugs cases. The situation inside the jail has already normalized, but visitations are not allowed in the gang's dormitory until the investigation is completed. Gang leaders who led the protest risk being transferred to Manila City Jail Annex in Taguig City.
Kung kailangan nating kasuhan po sila, kung mayroon tayong makita, kakasuhan po natin.
Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Justice strongly denies admitting high-profile inmate JB Sebastian into the Witness Protection Program. This after Sebastian's lawyer, attorney Eduardo Arriba, reportedly stated that his client is now under government protection. Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre previously said they don't believe the entire testimony of Sebastian, even though they agree with this allegation that former
judicial killings. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Senator Laila de Lima and Senator Richard Gordon were caught again on a heated debate during the resumption of the Senate inquiry on the alleged cases of extrajudicial killings. This after Senator Laila de Lima manifested a motion during the committee hearing for Commission on Human Rights Chair Chito Gascon to be allowed to explain the stand of CHR following the tirade.
Respect you, but let me just point out, I am not going to veer.
There is a particular matter at hand, so...
Excuse me, what are you trying to tell me?
I move that we defer the taking up of the death penalty bill.
Is there a second?
Justice Secretary Laila de Lima was his protector in selling illegal drugs inside the New Bilibid prison. Last Tuesday, de Lima and Sebastian were among the 8 respondents charged with drug trafficking in relation to the Bilibid drugs trade.
No witnesses by the Commission on Human Rights or CHR were presented on the last hearing of the Senate today on the alleged cases of extrajudicial
by Senator Richard Gordon. Senator Gordon is furious over CHR Commissioner Roberto Cadiz after the latter called him coward when he suspended the hearing on the alleged cases of summary executions. Senator de Lima also moved to defer the discussion of the committee on the proposed bill on the imposition of death penalty.
You cannot control this the way you controlled it last time. I don't want to fight with you.